Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the National Intel Report. I'm your host, John Stadtmiller, with you today on this Tuesday, 17th day of November, 2015. And what I'm going to get into today is going to, well, it's rather important. And we're going to be covering a lot on the little French disaster that happened last Friday. We're going to cover that in depth. But before we get into any of that, we have a sponsor on this network. You guys are used to dealing with Republic Trading Group. Well, we have Roberts & Roberts. Why? Well, it's hard to find honest gold and silver dealers. They have this thing, it's called the Midas Touch. Not confuse that with the other guy. But you need, when you're dealing with people and you're dealing with multiple dollars, you have to be able to trust that person, that they're going to do what they say that they're going to do and do it in a timely fashion to your satisfaction. That's why Roberts & Roberts is here. Tim Frey, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us on.
Well, I appreciate you guys being on the network. One of the things I've got to point out here before we go any further is on our website, we have an ad, but it's the daily prices of metal, gold and silver. And that's updated. How many times does that update, Tim?
It's updated about every 15 seconds.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. So it's very up to date.
Well, I'm looking at this and I'm going, they're back at it again, Tim. These master manipulators, they're at it again. Because I'm looking at the price of gold and silver. Gold is down to $10.71. And you and I have had this conversation that you don't go out and tell people, well, buy now because it's going to be worth $5,000 in 6 months.
Right.
Nobody knows this. And how I've approached this, Tim, it's sane, it's pragmatic, and it's honest. That this is an insurance policy. No more, no less. I'm sure you have a house and I'm sure you have insurance on your house. Because if the thing ever burnt down or blew away in a tornado or a hurricane or what other feat of nature might befall you, you've got insurance on that house and you're going to be able to rebuild. With gold and silver, with gold and silver, Tim, this is an insurance policy that hopefully you'll cash in later. But we do know this, that gold and silver is being suppressed. Man, is it being suppressed. The COMEX, you want to throw anything in on that, Tim? Because
we have a blog post about an experience we had back in 2008 where long story short, we had a client that came to us. He had bought two 5,000 ounce commodity contracts, was trying to take physical delivery of those contracts. And long story short, when it came time to actually deliver the silver, there was significant delays. And when I finally pushed and got an answer for why they were delayed, the answer I got back was, we listed these same bars on multiple contracts, so we have to clear those other contracts so we can physically give you these 10,000 ounce bars. Mm-hmm. And they just blatantly admitted what was going on. I couldn't get an idea or a scope of how many contracts, but it took 3 weeks to fix the problem.
Well, and there's a ratio between the price of gold and silver. Some put it at 15, 16 to 1, whatever. We do know this, that COMEX is oversold on their silver contracts, their futures. I don't know what is it now, Tim? I've lost track. And last time I checked, it was 100 to 1.
Well, there's no way of knowing for real what that number is, because every one of those contract holders in my example felt they owned those same bars. Those bars are very specific. It's this manufacturer, this serial number, this specific weight, this purity. Those are listed on a contract. There's not another bar in the world that has the same characteristics of that bar. Mm-hmm. So these multiple people all felt they owned that bar. So they're just flat out lying, about if it's 101 that they're admitting to, it might be 500 to 1 if they've got, 5 to 1 ratios on these contracts they're lying on.
Well,
so what they're actually short may be multiple factors of what they're willing to admit.
Well, you've been doing this. Your foray into the internet is pretty recent.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, I was conflicted. You know, these retail store outlets, the bricks and mortar guys, you know, when I heard that, well, there's too much competition coming from the internet, you know, that, they wanted certain specific things done to, level the playing field through way of legislation. And I'm thinking about this and I'm going, wait a minute here.
Hardly ever the solution.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't know about you, but I'm a tactile guy.
Yeah.
When I go shopping, I mean, literally, and I haven't done this in quite some time, but, when I go out to buy, clothes, I'll go out shopping for an hour and a half. It's down and dirty. I know exactly what I want to do, and I get it done in a most efficient manner, and it's done with. But I'm a tactile guy. You know, if I'm going to buy a waffle iron, for God's sakes, I want to see what the thing looks like. I want to put it in my hands. Point being that it's physical. You know, and the poor people, and Tim, geez, I'm sometimes so frustrated by the sheer ignorance. I'm not going to say stupidity, because a lot of people have done this. Well, the American people are stupid and this, that, and the other. Well, we've gone through great pains to explain as to why they have been kept in the dark and kept stupid. So I don't always blame the public out there for their ignorance. But my God in heaven, everybody else on this planet seems to get this, Tim. The Indians, and I'm talking the guy with the dots, not the feathers, over there in India. Right. Whether it be China, any place on this planet, Germany, it doesn't matter, in Europe, they all get it. They're all buying gold, they're all buying silver. But in the United States, the last time I checked, there's about 98% of the American people that have absolutely no physical holdings in gold or silver.
Right.
98%. What's going to happen to these people when, and just under the weight, and this is my prognostication, not yours, Tim, but under the weight of this debt, these markets, these economies cannot survive. There has to be changes, and made rapidly. Now, whether that's going to happen or not, ergo, let's go back to the insurance policy. I don't know anybody on this planet right now that can afford to buy an ounce of gold or at least some silver. And like we always tell them, Tim, you know, they'll tell you this in the stock market. You buy low and you sell high. Well, it's low right now.
It is low.
It is way lower. Now, and again, and I don't want to ever put you in a position to get out the crystal ball and go, well, you know, we know this is going to be worth a lot more in the future. How much it's going to be worth, we don't know. But again, if the economies of the planet collapse, our dollar that is barely hanging on by its fingernails, last time I checked, it was worth about 2 cents. That dollar goes bye-bye. The yuan is already being touted by the IMF to be the replacement currency for the U.S. dollar. Not good news for us, that's for sure. But again, this insurance policy, when the economies stop working and the money is not exchangeable, what else do we have left?
No, that's exactly right. I mean, for barter and that sort of thing, that's probably a very good idea to have a bunch of silver. But, you know, and we can almost see the dollar starting to unravel in markets where, you know, we just saw the yuan accepted into the SDR basket the other day. That's pretty big news, but it didn't seem to roil the dollar all that much, at the time it happened. And obviously it's strengthening today. That's what's causing gold to go down, is that we see dollar strength. We see a resurgence in the market right now. So those are all factors that are giving us these, you know, drops in prices. But, you know, when we start getting all of those dollars back because people will prefer to use a different currency, then we will see that, you know, money printing we've been doing for over 40 years since we closed off the gold standard for the dollar in 1971, since Nixon closed the gold window. We'll start seeing those dollars rolling back in, and it may look good for a while because your house might suddenly increase double, triple, because foreigners will want to buy houses and factories and land and anything that's a good solid investment, they will want to spend those dollars on that, and we will get all of those dollars back nearly instantaneously because they won't buy anything else in the world. When the dollar is no longer the trade currency.
Yeah, you're exactly right on that. And the housing bubble is starting to expand once again. And I can tell you, just from personal experience here in Central Texas, during the summer, which is generally in the real estate market, the hottest times of the year, right before school. This is where a lot of people make changes and want to get settled. The houses in this market in Central Texas were on the market for 24 or 48 hours, and they were going for the over the asking price.
Right.
So again, that just demonstrates how volatile the real estate market can be. But here again, it's the demand that's pushing up that price. What a lot of people don't understand is, we're running huge deficits with Mexico, huge trade deficits with China. When they strengthen that dollar the way they have been, the only thing that's doing is making our commodities and our products that are on the market that can be purchased from the United States more expensive to them.
Right. And it forces them to peg to that dollar. And so we see a race to the bottom of currencies, worldwide.
And that's exactly what's going on.
And who wins on that? It's not the consumer. It's not even the businessman. It's not even really the corporation. It is the banks.
Yeah.
The first users of those dollars, the issuers of those dollars, the people that make them up out of thin air.
Well, you do something that I have never seen any broker ever do before. And I want you to take a few minutes to explain how this works. You actually accept Bitcoin for the purchases of gold and silver. How does that work?
Well, Bitcoin is my favorite payment system. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm taking the Bitcoin in, but I am having to convert them immediately to U.S. dollars in order because I don't have any wholesalers yet that accept Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. As soon as a wholesaler will accept Bitcoin, I will no longer have to convert them. I'll be able to just turn them over, as Bitcoin. But right now I have a service called BitPay that converts it immediately to cash, that they put in my bank 2 days later at zero cost to me. So it gives me a niche to market to with the Bitcoin users. And as Bitcoin starts to go up, we do start to see people use their Bitcoin to buy gold and silver. But it's such an extraordinary payment system. And when those bits hit my wallet, my BitPay account, I can ship that item immediately. It's so much better even than a credit card or a check. It's really even better than cash because cash, if you bring me cash, I still have to take it to the bank and my bank charges me to deposit cash. It's literally, we deposit enough cash every once in a while that they do require me to pay to deposit cash. Yeah. So with Bitcoin, I don't have any of those issues. There's no way the Bitcoin is not valid if it's come into my wallet. There's no way that person could take it back, and the consumer's protected too because I can't charge anymore to that Bitcoin wallet. It is far superior to credit cards. We did credit cards for a short time. We had a horrible experience with credit card fraud. Oh yeah. And so we shut it down immediately. So we went back to the idea of, you'll see the motto some places in our advertising where we don't feed the banks. And that is one way that we try not to feed the banks. I also see Bitcoin ideologically as a way to escape. Another way to escape the system. I look at gold and silver more as a way to escape this corrupt system of dollars and banks and central banks and governments.
Well, but let it be said though that you do take cash, personal.
We're very
checks,
happy. Yeah.
Bank checks, wire transfers, yes. and of course Bitcoin.
We just don't take credit cards. Yeah.
And I understand. And the people, the family. Let me put it to you this way because we're pretty close knit. When I started this network, I always did it, Tim, with the idea that, there's all of us here together. We're all wanting the same thing. We're here for the information. We're here for the change. We're here. We are here. And to be honest with you, I bank with J.P. Morgan Chase. Mm-hmm. And these people, when somebody sends me a check out of country, Canadian, doesn't matter, from Europe, whatever, they will not hold my checks. Most banks they like to float the money. They'll tell you that, we're just doing this to make sure that the check is good. Well, they can do that within minutes if they really wanted to, but they have this float out there that they're able to use. But this bank, this branch, does not hold my checks. They cash them immediately because over the years they have recognized one thing. I've never gotten a bad check. And they will cash those checks for me immediately. Now, I only ever had a problem one time with credit cards. But I understand why you're saying this, because there are unscrupulous people out there. And if say you call up Tim Frey today and you say, I want to use my credit card, I want to buy $10,000 worth of silver, and you make the arrangements for that to be done. Well, the silver is shipped, the card is charged, but then that customer turns around to their bank where that credit card is issued, and they dispute the charge on the card. In the meantime, the customer has the silver, you are out there flapping in the wind. And let me be honest here, folks. If we are doing business with people, and you've heard this argument, Tim, with, say, retail stores, that we've got to do something about the theft that's going on. All it's doing is driving up the prices of other goods.
That's exactly right.
So
who pays for credit card fraud? It's not the merchant. The merchant passes it on to the customer. So in essence, it's all well and good that we have these consumer protection laws for credit cards, but who they really protect is the bank, the credit card processor, the bank and the credit card processor. I guess they do somewhat protect the consumer, but the consumer ends up paying back, and so does every cash and check paying customer as well.
Yeah.
The retailer has no choice but to raise their prices. We tried a 3% surcharge on all credit card fees, but when I got hit with $15,000 worth of credit card fraud by one group. It's very clever. I learned things about credit card processing, like, and I don't mean to give people tips on how to steal with credit cards, but the name you use for your internet order does not necessarily have to match that on the credit card. Right?
That's right.
So where's the protection in that? So all they care about is that the digits are right, that the 3-digit or 4-digit protection number on the back of the card matches, and that some element of the address is the same.
It's funny you should mention it, because just the other day I had a conversation with my bank, and I was using another computer to get into my account, and it put me through this gigantic rigmarole that we don't recognize the computer that you're using. And I'm thinking to myself, what difference does it make? So I'm talking to the people responsible for this, and they're trying to assure me that, we're just doing this for your peace of mind and your protection. And I'm going, yeah. Well, the banks have not looked out for our best interests, and they have not been there to protect us. Ergo 2008. Tim, we are in a quandary, and there's only a limited amount of things that we can do until that system is changed, until it's brought down.
Right.
And one of those ways to do that, the only way that I know, I've been doing this for 23 years. You've been in the business for 35 years. If somebody were to hold a gun to each of our heads and said, okay, I want the skinny, what should I do with my little pile of money? We're both going to give them the same answer. Tell you what. That's right. Hang on a second. Let me wrap this up on the other side of this commercial break. We're talking with Tim Frey, and the place that they do business is over at Roberts & Roberts, 800-874-9760.
Roberts & Roberts Brokerage believes that everyone should have some of their assets in investment-grade precious metals. Roberts & Roberts has been a trusted name in precious metals for nearly 40 years. Experienced investors will appreciate our personal service and low prices. If you're new to precious metals, we can help you find the products right for you. Give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co. Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, when you're serious about precious metals.
It must be said that this door swings both ways. Yeah, is it a good time to buy gold and silver? It has been for a very long time. But also, you can sell your gold and silver and platinum, your precious metals. How does something like that happen, Tim? That somebody says, hey, I need some quick cash, my transmission blew up.
Well, it's best if they let us know first.
Right.
We can help arrange. We have very good shipping rates through FedEx. We have very good insurance rates through an outside insurer. So FedEx doesn't know what they're shipping. We give you our FedEx number. You take it to FedEx. You pack it up. You ship it. You call us with the tracking number. We put the insurance on it. When the package arrives, we evaluate it, give you a price for it, and send you a check. Basically, I mean, we got the silver or gold in hand. We're going to ship the check right out. We can do wire transfers.
I was just going to suggest that. I mean, if somebody is really having a dire emergency, they don't want to wait for the mail. Hey, can you do a transfer? Yeah, done.
Yep.
Good deal. Well, it sounds like this is going to be a very good experience for the listeners of this network.
I hope to make it as good as possible. Yes, we've been around a long time. We've been through a lot of ups and downs. The firm was started in 1977, not by me. My predecessor, Les Roberts, started the business. I became a client in 2001. Actually early 2002. 2001, 9/11 woke me up to I needed to do something different. And I started studying and learning more about the financial system. I read Creature from Jekyll Island. And I got into buying gold and silver as a kind of a diversification from my stock portfolio. I'd always been kind of an amateur stock trader, and I'd done pretty well. But, inevitably the ups and downs of the market would always catch me, and I always found gold and silver to sort of run contrary to the market. So I got into it and walked in one day in 2006, and he said, well, I'm going to retire soon, and if I can't find somebody to replace me, then I'm going to close the business. And I bought the business that day. So I wrote him a earnest money check and started evaluating the business and ended up buying it the first business day of 2007. And we've been running it since under the same principles that Mr. Roberts taught me.
And there is something that must be said for continuity's sake, and more importantly, for ethics and Mikey, what's going on over there? Oh, okay. You switched it. All right. Yeah, you need to know. I mean, trust has to be earned. I see a lot of people that they demand. They want to be treated with respect and trust. Well, that's something that's earned. And we hope that people will respond to you. By the way, you got a great radio voice.
Oh, thank you.
If you ever decide to get out of the gold and silver business, I think you might have even a career in radio.
Great. Well, thanks. I got a face for radio too.
So do I. It's getting older and wrinklier.
Exactly.
But, look, folks, I'm glad to have you on, being a part of the RBN team. You're there to perform a very important service for everybody. Whether everybody recognizes it today, they will in the near future. I'm hoping for a reawakening of the American people. But you know what? Here's another issue that we didn't even cover. And that's going to be one of availability. These markets start to fail, start to get jankier than they already are.
Yep.
There's going to be a demand. And folks, it's going to be not if I have the money to purchase or any other concerns. Is it even going to be out there to buy? Because as I said, the rest of the planet seems to have caught on to this idea that gold and silver is a pretty good thing to have. Well, when that starts to happen here in this country, the stores of the precious stuff will disappear. And I don't want to see people being left out in the cold with the only insurance policy that they're going to be able to use in the future.
Yeah, that's particularly true with silver. When we saw we were $18 earlier this year. We started the year about $18 for silver, and as we fell off that cliff, product disappeared over the summer. I mean, we did have long delays, and that's where you really need to have your customers' trust.
Yeah.
Because we did have some people that waited a month or more for silver. We don't like to do that. We'll tell you when you buy it. We'll tell you right on our website if something's available immediately, it says available immediately. If there's a delay, it'll say it's a delay. If you try to buy it, and I'm uncomfortable, I'm not certain that you're going to be comfortable with the delay, I will call you and we'll talk about it and just make sure that some other product might not be a better choice.
There's a couple listeners. Hang on a second here, Tim. If you can stick around for a few more minutes, there's a couple of subjects that I did not breach yet. So if you can hang on for a few minutes,
right?
Okay, yeah. Great. All right, let's take the bottom of the hour break here. We're talking with Tim Frey from Roberts and Roberts, and folks, whether you realize it or not today, this may be the most important consideration you may make for your future.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Tim, if somebody were to call you and they didn't know beans about the precious metals markets, some people are happy with buying just struck bullion coins. Others want circulated coins. Others want minted coins, junk silver, we call it. Right. Some people prefer smaller denominations of, say, gold bars in platinum, gold, silver, whatever. What's your general approach if you have a sense that the person on the other end of the line knows that they want to buy, but they just don't know what to buy?
Yeah, I mean, some of it has to do with, your worldview and, the purpose, the reason you're buying it and how you plan to get out of it. Those are the two most important things. Why are you buying it and how do you plan to utilize it later on? What's your plan, your strategy for holding it or selling it later? So we try to identify those things. So, it does end up kind of coming down to two different camps. It's the people that are concerned about a financial collapse and they want to have something they can barter with. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, then we try to steer them to silver and we try to steer them to smaller pieces of silver. And that's where the 90% silver coins or junk silver comes in to the picture. That's a very good way to go. But, 1 ounce pieces at a maximum, really, because, 1 ounce piece is $15 or $16 today. You may come a time in shortage and financial collapse and that sort of thing where nobody has $15 worth of thing, of anything. Mm-hmm. So, you go back to the old principles. A dime a dozen. How much is a dozen eggs? About a dime a dozen. How much is a gallon of gas? About a quarter. In silver value, those are still true. So there's that. So those types of people. People that are willing, that really want to, kind of manage their portfolio. Silver's still a good thing, that, hey, I want to buy something now and I want to see an appreciation. And I think the best opportunity lies in silver because of the ratio thing. You brought up the ratio. Mm-hmm. We're at 75-1 for Pete's sake right now. Buy 75 ounces of silver instead of an ounce of gold down the road. If that ratio drops to 25-1 or 30-1, trade some of that silver in and get twice as many ounces of gold. Well, why not do that?
And so, with working knowledge, this puts the mm-hmm. customer in the catbird seat.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so you also have folks that are just saying, look, I just want something that I know that I don't have to even think about, look at, do anything with, just ounces of gold, maybe even bigger bars, of silver, that sort of thing. Just put them away, stack them. And, later on when the price increases, you can bring them back and sell them back to me if that's what you think is going to happen. Well, so, those are the types of approaches, but it really does help to have the conversation. I don't want people just to go to the website and buy. I really do want to talk to folks and make sure that they're doing the right thing. Now, there's a lot of folks out there already know what they want and what mm-hmm. they're doing, and that's fine. But if you've never done this before, take time. We're not going to press you. We do not press people. We'll give you the information whether you end up buying from us or not. You
mean to tell me you don't have a couple dozen people in a back room someplace calling you every other day, pressing you into making a purchase or right. selling?
There are 3 people here. You've talked to 2/3 of the staff already. You've talked to Danae, who is our office manager, myself, and then my friend Mark comes in a couple times a week so that I get a break or I can catch up on.
Oh no, projects. I've spoken to all 3.
So okay, all right. So you've talked to everybody here.
Well, and that's another thing that people just don't understand. And I'm not going to sit here and mention other companies that do a heck of a lot of advertising. They actually farm out the actual brokerage of the metals themselves, and they take a hit off of it. By keeping the cost of your cost of doing business low, you can pass that savings off to people. They just don't understand how the mechanisms work.
Right. It's a 1-2-3% business now. The internet has made it very competitive for, to the advantage of the customers. I'm all for that. We've always been a 1-2-3% business. It's just that, we need to now, stretch out a little bit. About a year ago, we engaged in, building a website. We've got the website up there. It's not a perfect website, and there's, but it's pretty darn good. It works well. Yeah. But I do want to have a conversation with people that are just starting out to make sure that they're buying the right thing. Speaking of the website too, I don't want to forget to mention we do have a coupon code special for RBN listeners. If you enter RBN on an order, you will get free shipping on your first order.
Uh-oh.
So we are offering that. That's a good savings right there.
There you go. What an introduction to doing business with Roberts and Roberts.
Absolutely.
Hey, well, Tim, it's been a pleasure.
My pleasure.
You're knowledgeable in what you do. You're there to help people. And you cannot ask for anything more, folks. I mean, people that actually give a damn, not about just making a buck, but care about what you're doing. Because here's the deal, and it always comes down to this. You make a happy customer, they might refer you. They might talk you up to one or two of their friends. But if you do somebody a disservice, man, they'll tell 20. So the referrals are very important off of this as well. And that's another thing that people do not understand. That, and I have seen a lot of people in the gold and silver business, Tim, that they're in for the wham bam, thank you ma'am, I'm making that dollar today, whether you come back or not, hey, I'm just going on to the next guy. That's not how you build trust, and that's not how you build a base of customers. So
that's right.
Again, folks, I mean, if you're looking for, I call them monster boxes, they're called specifically mint boxes. Whether you're looking for silver maple leaves or silver eagles, and again, this is on availability. But if this is what you're shopping for, there's got to be lead time. They are available, but you got to be in there. You got to be working with somebody that's knowledgeable how to obtain what you are looking for. So whether it's Swiss francs, British sovereigns, silver Australians, spiders, whatever the case may be, if you're looking for it, these guys will locate it at the best price for you. And again, Tim, thank you. Let me put out the number one more time. That is 800-874-9760. Let me do that again. 874-9760, 800. And your website, sir?
RRBI.co. There's no M on the end. It's RRBI.co.
All right. Tim, looking forward to speaking to you again. And folks, I think you're in pretty good hands here.
Let's do it again soon.
All righty. Thank you,
All
Tim.
right. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right. He's been advertising with us for 4 months. This is the first time I've brought him up. So, folks, if you're looking for it, go to the site, rrbi.co. And if you're a first-time customer, please take Tim's advice. Call him. Talk to him. You'll find out by speaking with you, what your knowledge level is. He can make suggestions. That's what he's there for. He's there to sell gold and silver and palladium and platinum and all those things, most assuredly. But he's there to give you a good deal. So the next time you're in the market, there's only one number you're going to call, 800-874-9760. All righty. Glad I was able to do that today.